Hey there guys, this is Future Spazzy. After the fact of recording this video, I really wanted to tell you that take a look down in the video description. It is going to be containing a link to one of my recent community posts regarding your submissions in terms of ideas, suggestions, challenges, and etc. for the current Let's Play. I hope that you guys have the time to kind of give something something for us to work with until we start recording this week's episodes. So yeah, keep that in mind. Hey there guys, Spazzy here, aka Syndromes, and welcome to a in-between episode regarding our co-op Let's Play of Avorion. So at the time of recording this particular episode, Mutt is probably already passed out, and Aerodoth is still probably at work, and so it's only me today as I kind of try to bring you up to speed of what exactly is happening in our co-op, what has changed over the past few episodes in terms of how I present these co-ops, because again, doing a co-op Let's Play is unknown territory for me, and so there's a lot of mistakes I will be making over the time of this video series, and hopefully with your feedback I can remedy most of them. So for example, as you can already tell, the first one is a change of music, because I've been getting some feedback that the quote elevator music is not really all that, good anymore. It's a little bit too much. And so from today on, it is going to be the soundtrack from Shipbreakers or Rebel Galaxy, just to kind of, focus on that kind of a grungy, factory, kind of industrial-ish thing that we have during the Iron Sectors. And yeah, so today I am, in fact, going to load up the 3-block ad save, and just for the sake of, continuity, I'm going to actually use it as a... there we go. Host is a multiplayer game. Obviously, Mutt and Aerodoth are not currently around, so I can't really do anything with them, but I can kind of give you a very simple, TLDR is what exactly is happening, how far we have gotten, take a look at our ships a little bit, and yeah. Oh yes, the Alliance message of the day is poo. Thank you. Very nice. So then, first things first, I'm actually going to very quickly go from one end to the other and make sure that all of these ships are more or less safe, so to speak. I don't want to accidentally lose anything during the time of this particular video, so let's just do that. This one is doing something. This one is just chilling here. That is the Torpedo Hound. Let's move it to this sector as well. What do we have? We have the Adopted Hound, which is currently just sitting here, so let's move that to the capital system as well. Let's see, that would be the Connoisseur of Flying Farts. It's already there. All is fine, everyone else is just doing their thing. Okay, so, a small recap. The thing that we have done so far. So for those of you who don't remember or have currently arrived at this point of the Let's Play, essentially what we did is we started off in the usual spot, which is in this case here. You can still see that it's still set as my home sector. We created an alliance, and we agreed that we would hold absolutely no private reserves or items, and that everything that we do during this co-op, as the name implies, co-op, we are going to share all the resources, all the materials, all the items, systems, and etc, etc. The other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to start at the very edge of the galaxy, and what we did in order to do that is I teleported us over here, literally on the opposite side, to the coordinates 500, 500, at which point we started taking a look around. Where exactly did we start off? We tried to find the First Nation. Now, it didn't really work out too well, because the first nation that we encountered was, first of all, so far closer to the middle of the galaxy that it wasn't really any different from starting from here on principle, and also the fact that at the time of recording that, this place was actually, it's currently neutral to my drone, yes, but these guys were, actually hostile to us, hostile to the Alliance. And so what we did is basically invert those numbers, go it over on this side of the galaxy, and the first place that we encountered were these guys over here, the Guild of Odu. I think it was the Guild of Odu. Yeah, it was here. We started off over here. And essentially what happened from there is we started just expanding, researching the overall environments. We started doing missions. We started taking all around. We started using, heavily using the scout functions, by the way, because that's amazingly good. Like, not the scout, but, yeah, well, scout. And that's the way that we opened up all of these sectors of a map. Like, you would never see something so detailed in our usual playthroughs, and I think that it was, in fact, a very good change. Now then, apart from that, we do have amassed quite a sizable fleet so far, so much so that some of you have already said that, well, isn't it time to move on? Like, isn't it time to go to Neonite? And I think that we are going to do exactly that. It's just that in the, in a regular environment where all the three of us would be just playing Avorion, we wouldn't be limiting ourselves for 2 hours per session that we can turn into 2 episodes, right? So each 1 hour equals about 30 minutes of footage, and so what we do is we just sit down, we do 2 hours of our recording, and just move on. So in other words, if it wasn't for the recording, at this point we would probably be at the barrier already with a multi-million credit stash. But yes. Right, so I guess I'm going to give us a chance to take a look at some of these ships, actually, as soon as they, arrive to the, to this capital place. But apart from that, yeah, it's been a bit of a slow progress, I do admit that, and at the same time, I'm not really certain I mind. I realize it might be kind of, boring for you, for those of you who want to see, shields start be implementing larger ships, etc., etc., but at the same time, getting enough resources for all three of us to actually build and maintain multiple ships has been proven to be one of the many challenges that we're facing in these sectors, and well, I think it's a challenge that we can manage at some point in time. I know for a fact that in the next episode that I'm gonna probably recall both my mining ships and have them start mining things manually. As one of the things that I mentioned is, I think the reason why they introduced this prolonged kind of mining operation is because they don't need to render the ships physically in these systems, and so when you build a better salvager or a better mining ship, you actually have the problem where, due to how limited the AI pathfinding is, these ships tend to get stuck, and so yes, you get technically speaking, a better mining ship, but at the same time, it actually gets so stuck and so often and has to kind of navigate itself around everything that you don't actually have any benefit over, one of those Chinese takeout boxes with like 2 turrets on it, and yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. But at the time recording, I do think that the Rock Badger and the Baltimore are both small enough ships just yet where I could actually still have them manually mine through a sector without any problems, because honestly, I think they are good ships. It's just that for some reason, the amount of items they encounter does not really seem that good. I'm pretty sure that if I just manually had them mine out a sector, they would actually be faster, but that remains to be seen. Apart from that, yeah. So in terms of combat ships, you already know that I'm currently maining the SNS Razzle Dazzle, and just for the sake of it, I'm just going to very quickly switch to the Razzle Dazzle and very quickly allow you to re-familiarize yourself with how the ship looks, how the ship functions, and honestly, this is one of the more interesting designs that I had. It's also one of the few times where I have a multi-purpose ship in the sense that I do have a dedicated salvage turret on top of it. The weapon placement, as you can tell, is meant for a player controlling the ship and not the AI. If this was mostly an AI-controlled ship, I would have these turrets all over the ship, and also, you know, it's kind of obvious that I made this model without really taking into account any weapon mounts or anything like that, but at the same time, I really don't mind. It's currently serving its main purpose very well, and honestly, I don't really have anything against that. Apart from that, the ship is 8.86k of HP. It's currently not yet. I think it's not yet fully maxed out. I should be able to upgrade it once, and I see that we do have the titanium for it, so maybe I might as well do it. I'm going to save the current design like this. I'm going to adjust the socket like this, and I think it's going to let me do this. No, it is not, so let's go to just +1 instead. There we go, and I just lost all of my weapons. Oh dear, I did not think this through. But yes, since then I also had a trading ship made. I also had a salvage ship made. The salvage ship, if I'm not mistaken, I did bring it back, I think. No, it's over here. So the SNS All That Isn't Bolted is my, quote, salvage ship, and it's currently operating on this side of the galaxy. Might be a mistake. I probably will want to bring it back at some point and just have it go through all of the sectors where we encounter those pirates. You know, it's just a small list of things that make sense in hindsight, but again, hindsight is 2020, so I'm not really mad that I made those mistakes. Now, something that I am a little bit upset about, and mostly about myself, is that I did not really consider this at first. Let's very quickly go back to crew, auto assign, there we go. This would be fine. Okay, that's the one thing that I really didn't think about at first, but up until a very specific episode, the way that I would do this is I would take the whole footage, I would chop it up into encounters, and then I would overlay the, quote, elevator music on top of it. Now the problem is, unless you are watching that video very thoroughly, it's really hard to tell when there's a time skip ahead, as I, you know, cut out like 5 or 10 minutes of nothing really worth of importance happening, and it's just a editorial quirk that you need to be aware of. I have fixed it now, by the way. It's not going to be that big of an issue anymore. But overall, yeah, that is how it is. So let's take a look at the new and improved Razzle Dazzle. It's up to 22,000 hit points. It is currently maxed out at 6 slots. This means that I do have a slot that I'm currently not using. I will figure out what to put there. Probably maybe a hyperspace cooldown thing, although perhaps there might be something else that I could put here. Maybe an object detector, but at the same time, I do have a dedicated ship for that. We'll see. I don't want to do anything without Mutt or Aerodoth present. But speaking of, there is a ship that I do want to change, and that would be the SNS Moon Runes. Now, the Moon Runes is our trading ship, or rather, it is the trading ship that I made, and right now, it is basically a carbon copy of our salvager, and I don't like that, because I did create a new tanker design. It's over here. and I'm also going to make sure that it's, you know, it's a 6 slot. Currently don't have the iron for it. I'll probably do it in the next episode. You know, that's probably fair to both Mutt and Aerodoth, that I just don't do all this off-screen. Unless the ship is already... Okay, if I make it in a 5, show cost difference to the current ship, there we go. I would need 13, a little bit more iron that I actually do have right now, but... I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it, just in case. Anyway, this thing is, as you might expect, geared towards trading. You have the cargo expander, something that I never use. And, you know, one of the biggest things that I really like about this is they have given me a chance to use many of the systems that I really don't usually use, since, well, I can just tell this training ship to just go, you know, and train. Something else that I will try in the next episode is to kind of scout out the prices myself and use the acquire and sell goods instead, or just manually find myself a place to buy something and just, you know, manually sell it myself. But apart from that, yeah, there's also the fact that with its current design, I could actually try to get some stolen goods from the opposite side of the galaxy where all that isn't bolted is currently operating on, and then sell it over here. Like, the possibilities for a trading character is very expanded now, and I'm looking forward to what I can do about it. But apart from that, and you know, my mining ships, that's really it right now. You have the Baltimore, you have the Connoisseur of Fine Farts. You probably already know this ship. This is my exploratory ship. The exploratory ship is honestly just that. It has the object detector, something that I can actually, you know, replace over here. Probably will. And by here, I do mean over here, this thing. And apart from that, yeah, it has a velocity bypass, it has a generator on it, it's just a zippy little ship that is used for the sake of scouting things. Something that Aerodoth is actually doing quite well over there, so I don't want to steal his thunder. He can do whatever he wants over there. And yeah, I think what is going to happen is we're going to move to Neonite in episode 10. It's not yet completely certain, and chances are I will, in fact, leave a kind of a voting thing down in the comment section. Probably will, yeah. No to future Spazzy to, you know, add something at the start of the video. Anyway, yeah. And that's about it about my ships. So, let's, over here you have the Rock Badger. I do want to actually very quickly rename it, because I don't know why it's currently called that. Like, minor. Rename. Set class. I don't know why it did. There we go. And now it should actually show up as the Rock Badger. Yep, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, and over here you have the ship name M&S Adopted Hound. That's Mutt's ship. Let's take a look at it. This is a very interesting design. Like, it's you know, it's industrial in a completely different way. Mutt is, out of all three of us, clearly the least experienced player when it comes to Avorion, and one of the things that me and Aerodoth are really trying to do, or at least I am, is to not railroad him. I'm not trying to show him all the meta builds and strategies and, you know, how to deal with the turrets. For example, right now, I can actually see that he has placed his turrets on very thin plates of armor, and once he goes below a certain health, that they do have a tendency to, you know, drop off first. The ones over here are actually much safer than the ones over here, but it's like, it's just rookie mistakes. It's nothing bad. It's just something you gain with experience. Anyway, apart from that, he has 8.89k. He actually has more hit points than I had just a moment ago, before I upgraded the ship. And the ship itself is currently running pretty fine. As you can already tell, it is a multi-purpose ship, so he does have a system. Oh dear. I do believe that those parts will get mauled anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. Anyway, that is in fact the current situation with Mutt. What else do we have? You have, this is one of Aerodoth's, and I do believe that, I don't know. Oh, okay, so it's another multi-purpose ship, and at the same time, it is very bright and very green. It kind of reminds me of a hummingbird. Hummingbird class. Sure, let's go with that. Apart from that, it is also 8.93. It's also nearing the 5-slot limit, so I guess by the time we move on to Trinium, sorry, not Trinium, Neonite, we are in fact going to be, you know, hitting that 6-slot limit. That's probably when we start advancing. Apart from that, over here for Aerodoth ships, you have also a generator, you have a trading system, which is odd. So this is also kind of like a multi-purpose ship. Okay, then you have the torpedo dog. Again, very industrial. I really love the plates because it is clearly something that I have done a lot in my builds. And really these ship designs that Mutt does really do remind me of how I used to build ships before I got really anal about ship designing. And yeah, that's really pretty much it. No wonder he actually took them out. He has a better Omicron rating right now than most of us. I'm talking about that one pirate sector where me and Aerodoth got mulched. But yeah. And yeah, really that's kind of about it. That is the current state of things. That is the overall thought process that I currently have, how we're going to advance towards the center of the galaxy. We are probably just going to finish exploring this one kind of square area before we move into the next one, and we're probably going to move like diagonally like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is our current situation. Something I do want to mention is we do value your comments and we do value your input, so if you have any suggestions in terms of what you might want to see us do or try, please just place them down in the video comments and we do read them. Just make sure that you understand that the way that this works is we record these sessions during Saturday. The session is 2 hours long, and by the time it is about Monday or Tuesday, I post the first episode. So, when you watch that first episode at the start of the week, you have to kind of make a mental note that there is still a 1 hour session worth of episode that hasn't been yet posted. And if you are currently watching the second one, so for example, the one that I have literally posted today, chances are that one is where we left off, and we still have not started the, you know, the episode that it's going to be on Saturday. But yeah, alright, ladies and gents, that is pretty much it. Right now, that is the current situation. I realize we're taking our time. I realize that might get a little bit boring for some of you, but we don't want to rush towards it. Like, we did make that one mistake a long time ago. We just rushed towards the center of the galaxy and just burned through all of the game fairly easily. And we do want to take our time. We do want to learn all of the things that the new game version has given us in terms of tools before we start applying them. I do believe that the main game is going to start once we hit this section. But until that happens, this was Fantasy Dragon aka Syndromes. Fly safe, and I'll see you later.